Texas-based movies blast off into the Academy Awards. Faye Dunaway wraps up her latest movie in Austin. Kris Kristofferson, and a sneak preview of movies, multimedia, and the biggest music festival, South by Southwest. These stories and more on Texas Entertainment News.
Wilson, and this is Texas Entertainment News. We're coming to you from the screening room of Texas Motion Picture Services. It's where many filmmakers shooting in the Central Texas area come to view their dailies. In just a few minutes, we'll take you on the set of Faye Dunaway's new movie, The People Next Door. We'll also talk with her. But first, let's turn to a subject that's no stranger to Miss Dunaway, the Academy Awards. Two films with strong Texas connections are up for Oscars this year, Apollo 13 and Mr. Holland's Opus. Opus was directed by UT Austin grad Steve Herrick.
It was good.
It's a bit of a story like It's a Wonderful Life, where this man had certain ideas or ideals about what he thought he wanted to do in life.
We should do nothing but compose music and become famous.
And lo and behold, 30 years pass, and he never has really reached what it was that he thought he wanted to do.
After directing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, followed by a Disney blockbuster, The Mighty Ducks, Herrick enjoyed working on a subject that was close to his heart.
I think that's what teachers do ultimately, is that they share a little bit, they inspire enthusiasm in whatever subject that it happens to be, and this one happens to be music.
And that, gentlemen, is how we do that. Okay, guys, we're going to the moon.
Another Texas-based movie, Apollo 13, is up for 9 Oscars. Much of Apollo 13 was shot at Houston Space Center, and 2 Texans wrote the screenplay.
The clock is running.
One of the nice things about Apollo 13 was that I wrote it with Al Reinert, so we were collaborating from the beginning.
He ends up actually doing the typing, but I mean, like, I tell him what to write.
Al and I worked together really well. I mean, it was perfect. I wrote all the good stuff and he wrote all the bad stuff. No.
One of the first editors of Texas Monthly Magazine, Broyles was also the co-creator of the television series China Beach.
It's very fashionable to run down TV, but I loved it because you established characters who existed in time, and so you could actually tell their stories over a longer period, and that's really exciting.
Waiting to go home, wanting to have families.
China Beach won over a dozen Emmys, but Apollo 13 is Broyles' first chance at an Oscar. It's Reinert's second nomination. His first was for his 1990 documentary For All Mankind. Let's wish these Texans luck in March. Faye Dunaway knows a thing or two about Academy Awards. She won the Best Actress Oscar in 1976 for Network, and before that was nominated for Bonnie and Clyde and Chinatown. Now she's in Austin filming The People Next Door, a CBS movie of the week. It's her second movie in Texas, and Miss Dunaway seems quite at home.
I like Texas. I like the people here. Austin, I'm crazy about Austin. I got to get out to check out some of your music. I mean, 6th Street? I don't know where else in the world you can get that, where you get really class music in a succession of places, a succession of bars.
Dunaway's new movie is about a couple that decides to kidnap the children of a drug addict.
A really interesting piece. It's based on a true story. It's about a kidnapping of some children. And Nicolette Sheridan plays my daughter, the mother of the children. The children get kidnapped, and it's about trying to find them and get them back again. And in the process, we have a little mini canvas between me and Nicolette where we get to talk about mothers and daughters and how difficult that is. And nobody handles the register except me and Thomas.
Good.
And that is, honey, you got to grow up one of these days, and you got to treat me like I'm your boss, because I am. Yeah. And, I'm your mama when we're not working, but we're working now, okay? Oh, you call me Mrs. Morris or Mama. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Good luck. And the way I said it was not mean. I said, you call me Mrs. Morris here, honey. Okay? You know that wonderful Billie Holiday song where she said, God bless the child who's got his own? I'm really trying to say, you got to have your own now. You got to treat me like when we're not here, I'm your mother. But here, I'm your boss.
Though she's known mainly as a movie star, Dunaway enjoys the wide range of roles available on television.
No, I think it's always, they intermarry, you know. I mean, a lot of really strong, incredible talent gets started in TV. You do roles in TV you can't do on a big screen, especially now. You know, I think the 90s may change, but the 80s was a time of real mechanical characters. The era of the 70s, where I did Chinatown and Bonnie and Clyde and all those things, was a kind of movie making that we don't have so much anymore. The 80s were really, you know, Make My Day and you know, the Terminator 3 and stuff like that. In the 90s, I think will be a return to it, but we feed each other, you know. There's theater, I'm doing a play in July, and there's TV, and there's so much. Wherever the interesting work is, I think is where you go.
Look for The People Next Door on CBS this summer.
In other film news, Before and After opened this Friday with Liam Neeson and Meryl Streep. The story about a family torn apart by a suspected murderer is based on a novel by University of Houston creative writing teacher Rosellen Brown. For more on Before and After and new productions around the state, dial up our internet homepage at www.txent.com. Coming up next, the Rhodes Scholar from Brownsville is back on the road, Kris Kristofferson.
Justice is a great label to be on.
Hey, Catherine Ann, it's me. I was thinking about what you mean to me, and I want to get a tattoo of your name across my back. I'm at the tattoo parlor. I'll wait till 4, so call me if you think it's a bad idea. The number is 5545.
For a better way to get your messages, get call notes and lose your answering machine, not your messages.
It's just not Chili's till you light up the grill, and that means steaks, like our new Solano strip steak and new steak pico, smothered with onions, bell peppers, and 2 kinds of cheese. So round up the gang and herd them on down to Chili's. Chili's grills like no place else.
Hi, I'm Tom McConnell. You've probably seen the ads for Dead Man Walking with Sean Penn and Susan Sarandon. 3 Texas artists cut singles for the movie, but you can't hear them in the theaters.
There's a pale horse coming, I'm gonna ride it.
With the help of some great musicians, Tim Robbins is starting a new trend in Hollywood, offering an album he calls a companion piece to his motion picture, Dead Man Walking.
I had this idea where I was wondering if I sent the film in its rough form to songwriters, whether they would be inspired to write songs based on the experiences of Sister Helen.
One of the first Texans contacted by Robbins was Steve Earle.
I come from the state that executes more people than any other state. And my mother is really what got me going on it, because she lives in Humble, Texas, which is just about 30 miles south of Huntsville, where the prison is, where Ellis Unit 1 is.
Till they transferred me to Ellis Unit 1. Swing low, swing low, swing low and carry me home.
Everyone came back with a real specific tone and a real a different viewpoint or a different character that they'd chosen that had affected them in some way.
The second Texan on the album, Michelle Shock from Gilmer.
It was so great to have so much encouragement from Tim to follow my heart and to just, I gotta say this, it was a gift from God. The inspiration to understand that the movie was really taking on mercy. And then, of course, the most famous line about mercy is that the quality of mercy is not strained. So I'm like, I'll take it.
I think that's what makes songs great, is that they take you to places. They take you to kind of a place where everyone can go. I think people are going to really respond to it. I hope they do.
Stay tuned for the single from the third Texan on this album, Lyle Lovett.
He's starred in more than 20 movies, written songs like Me and Bobby McGee, and along the way he's been a Rhodes Scholar and an English teacher at West Point. Kris Kristofferson, one of Brownsville's favorite sons. You might know him as an actor, but over the years, singing and songwriting have been the heart of Kristofferson's career. Still, even with his legendary credits, he's sometimes had a hard go at it. Now he's back on the road again, promoting A Moment Forever, his first all-new album in almost a decade. And now he's got a new label, Justice Records in Houston.
Justice Records is the first record company that's been aware of the release of my album. Justice seems to embrace the baggage I come with, rather than try to hide it and change me to somebody else. And I love the title. Justice is a great label to be on. But they're working with Willie and Waylon now.
Kris has done his share of work with Willie and Waylon. A few years back, he joined forces with them and Johnny Cash to form the Highwaymen. Kristofferson's ties to this group go all the way back to the 60s.
We were all trying to fight for respect for music like Willie Nelson wrote and Johnny Cash, you know. And it's got it. Finally got it.
Kristofferson gets respect, but he's still searching for his place on the record charts.
That's one of the problems with marketing my songs, I guess. Just about the heart, but I don't see a category in the record stores.
Time has taught me this.
Heart and soul. We got to get a new chart. Put heart and soul in there.
All your blues will turn to gold again.
They've been together since they were teenagers, and they're still misbehaving. The Pointer Sisters. Ain't Misbehavin' will play throughout March at the Music Hall at Fair Park in Dallas. Tickets are on sale now, by the way, so you better get them fast.
Coming up next, get ready to party with movies, multimedia, and the biggest music festival, South by Southwest. Which Texan starred in this 1976 hit opposite Barbra Streisand? Find out when Texas Entertainment News comes back.
Love, oh Cali love. Love, oh Cali love. Love, oh love. They call it Cali love. Don't you see what Cali's love has done? What to do for you?
Which Texan starred with Barbra Streisand in this 1976 hit? Brownsville's favorite son, Kris Kristofferson.
What do you get when you put thousands of musicians, hundreds of filmmakers, and multimedia people together in one city? Probably the largest gathering of creative artists in the world, South by Southwest. At the beginning of March, South by Southwest transforms Austin from the capital of Texas to the live music capital of the world.
We've created, this is a table full of desserts for us.
For us, it's the Super Bowl.
It started as a way for independent musicians to show off their talents.
You have to be really good, and you have to work extremely hard, and then you have to work harder, and then you have to rise above yourself and work harder than that, and then you have to have some real luck.
The festival is the brainchild of co-founders Louis Black, Nick Barbaro, and Roland Swenson.
We started it 10 years ago, and the real idea was that if we could bring musicians and music industry people together to talk about music and the music industry, that it would really serve a lot of purposes and be really good, and we would do it on a small regional basis. And now 10 years later, it's international. People come from all over the world, but it's basically people who care about independent music. in a 2-mile radius in downtown Austin, we probably have more, clubs and more capacity than most American cities. We wanted it to be regional because what we were really concerned with was the band manager in Austin who dealt with the club in Oklahoma City, and they had never met in 10 years of doing business. Dealt with the club in Kansas City, never met, 10 years doing business. We wanted to bring all those people together. So we thought South by Southwest. Nick and I are both movie people, take off of the Hitchcock film, and we'd also really emphasize the regional identity.
For 10 consecutive days, film, multimedia, and music industry exhibitions, educational panels, and workshops will be held. By night, music festival showcases and film screenings take the spotlight all over Austin.
Well, more and more, South by Southwest is going to be about the needs of creative people.
The hard work of these men and their amazing staff and volunteers have made the South by Southwest Festival a real success. Don't miss next week's show for our focus on the South by Southwest Film Conference. For all the information on the South by Southwest Festival, dial up our internet homepage.
If you got a hankering for some words on the range, get to the 10th Annual Texas Cowboy Poetry Gathering next weekend in Alpine. The legendary Red Steagall will be reciting verse along with these guys, the Jose Brothers, otherwise known as the Cowboy Nerds. The contest brings in more than 60 poets, and fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the Jose Brothers survived this mishap.
Coming up, the Texas Grammy Roundup.
Hi everybody, this is Doug Sound, que paso vatos de San Antonio, and we're here talking about the last real Texas blues band on the Texas Entertainment News. Here it comes.
Hi, please leave a message.
Sweetie, it's our song. Jessica, I'm sorry about last night.
I've been thinking,
I want us to get married. Spend the rest of our lives together. I love you, Jessica Sue.
For a better way to get your messages, get call notes and lose your answering machine, not your messages.
Yes!
At Chili's, we're always fixing up something special from the grill, like our Caribbean chicken salad with grilled marinated chicken and grilled tuna salad with ranch dressing and spicy pico de gallo. So if you like your salads fresh from the farm and hot off the grill, Chili's grills like no place else.
38th Annual Grammy Awards will be in Los Angeles this Wednesday, and if you think Texas is about the best place on earth to make music, look no further than this year's nominees. Texas musicians earned 15 nominations, more than any other state, and they earned them across the board in every category from blues to gospel to country. Is this really country? That's Junior Brown's new release, Junior High, up for Best Country Album. 4 Texas groups squared off for Best Mexican-American Performance, including La Mafia, and Flaco Jimenez. El Flaco and compadre Leroy Parnell were also nominated for Best Country Instrumental Performance.
Well, I hope I take both. I'll sell for one, but I wouldn't mind both.
Up for Best Contemporary Soul Gospel Album, Yolanda Adams. Seven years ago, she was teaching elementary school in Houston.
I've gotten this far in this short amount of time. It's like somebody granting me wishes, and I know who it is.
On the other side of the dial, there's Steve Earle, whose Train a Comin' is up for Best Contemporary Folk Album. And then there's Brave Combo from Denton, up for Best Polka Album with Polkas for a Gloomy World. If it wins, you can bet they'll be dancing in Denton. James McMurtry's up for Best Music Video in the long form. And as if these guys didn't have enough awards, Ray Benson and Asleep at the Wheel go for their 6th Grammy, this time for Best Country Instrumental. Wish them all luck at the Grammys this coming Wednesday.
Another Texan's up for his 2nd Grammy this week. The Texas Tornado himself, San Antonio's Doug Sahm. Sahm won his first Grammy in 1991 along with fellow Tornadoes Freddie Fender, Flaco Jimenez, and Augie Meyer. This year he's got a new band in a new category, Best Traditional Blues Album.
I hate to be repetitive because, you know, I play quintet with Augie, I do blues on this Grammy thing, and I play Tornadoes, and I get bored real quick.
We asked Sir Doug to take a trip down memory lane. It all started with the Sir Douglas Quintet.
And of course, when the Beatles came, that just blew everything apart, you know. We'd watch them play in all these bands, and Augie'd go, you know, hey man, we can do this. I mean, what's the deal? We got to dig up a Vox. And so we played a show with the Dave Clark Five in 1964, and they're doing all and all that standing looking, hey man, pip pip and all this, you know. Wow, that's cool, man, you know. And then we were playing 4 nights a week at a place that's now a tire company called the Blue Note Lounge in San Antonio. Them old clubs in San Antonio had characters, man. They were burglars and gangsters and hustlers, and man, I mean, it wasn't no yuppie bash. Then when that was over, we came back and there was Cosmic Cowboys in Austin and Soap Creek, and then we were cowboys with long hair and cowboy hats, drinking Pearl long necks and playing Ray Price songs, you know.
Finally, in the 90s, Sahm's long and winding road ended up with the Texas Tornadoes.
I love that band so much. I mean, Freddie's vocals, and Flaco is just such a master showman. And Augie does this funny little thing, and I do the rock and roll. All that live stuff, I was standing right here. And ladies and gentlemen, on television on this spot has been some of the greatest people there ever was. I think of Albert Collins, Stevie Ray, Bobby Blue Bland, man, you name it. They've been right here on the stage.
We hope Doug will be back on center stage at this week's Grammys.
Next week, Austin City Limits pulls a classic off the shelf, Roy Orbison. Coming up, Lyle Lovett's new single for Dead Man Walking.
They hang out at the lakes, in the mountains, in the high desert plains. They eat rocks and dirt for breakfast, blow with the wind, sleep under the open skies, propagate like crazy. They have a reputation for being seedy, uncultivated, and altogether colorful. Now they're even staging demonstrations. Wildflowers, pretty, tough.
Next week on Texas Entertainment News, it's Texas Independence Day. We'll visit with Governor George Bush.
I mean, we welcome the film and music industry here to the state of Texas.
Texas ex Morgan Fairchild struts into the catfights of daytime TV. A fresh sound for Buddy Holly. More on South by Southwest. What are these people throwing, and who makes all those big things?
And that's just about all for this week on Texas Entertainment News. But before we take off, we'll leave you with Lyle Lovett's new single called Promises. It was inspired by Tim Robbins' new movie, Dead Man Walking. See you next week, everyone.
And I hope that it finds you for your sweet attention. I cannot demand. And words are like poison that lives down inside you. And some things you do, you just don't understand.
This week on Texas Entertainment News, Farrah Fawcett's back on television, Governor George Bush on the Texas film industry.
We welcome the film and music industry here to the state of Texas.
A fresh sound for Buddy Holly.
Well, alright, so I'm being fooled.
What are these people throwing? And who makes all those big things? Catch it all this week on Texas Entertainment News.